Welcome to the podcast where we speak truth, illuminate power, and fully embody who the fuck we are. This is the Light Warriors Unleashed podcast. We are all about spiritual evolution, spiritual growth, talking about the things that may be controversial, even some triggering concepts, but we are all about expansion. Come on in and join us as we reclaim and recenter ourselves in the power of who we really are. We are the Light Warriors, and welcome to the revolution. Welcome back, everybody, to episode 104 of the Light Warriors Unleashed podcast. And today we're talking about the collapsing of these timelines and about how we're an emerging energy. And I go into some dynamics of explaining this so that you can take it forward in your world. Some of you guys are going to get smacked by this episode. Some of you guys are going to have realizations. Some of you are going to get confirmations and all the things in between. But we are really right now at this potency of being able to choose the life we desire to live. But it's not easy. It's not. This whole experience is fucked up, we're going to say. But fucked up in the most beautiful ways when you start to trust and believe in yourself that you can make the changes necessary and hold that energetics. It's not for the faint of heart. It isn't. However, those of us moving through it at the beginning phases right now and feeling this or have been doing the work for years in this energy field can tell you it's worth it. All of it, all the pieces. But it's going to take some grit and some courage. And I dive into that in this episode today. So I cannot wait to share it with you. Episode 104 of the Light Warriors Unleashed podcast. Welcome back, everybody. Oh my gosh. Okay. So much has been moving through my world over the last week, even. Never mind the last year. Okay. Let's talk about the last week. And I was drawn to stepping up and having a conversation today with you guys about what is actually happening with these timelines. What is happening in the collective energy right now? Why is it so imperative that we are moving forward in life with this very, very distinct intention? And why does this matter? And there is this energy, my body's in goosebumps, that's moving collectively through the energetic field, let's call it, through humanity, through all of us. And it's creating an awakening effect inside of us to do the work, to let go, to surrender in, to cut ties, to do the things, to release a lot of stuff. And it's fucking shaking humanity. Humanity's having a fucking shit fit, we'll call it. And we are, as I breathe, for those of you guys watching the video, you just watched me go, breathe in, because I can feel this energy here. We are literally right up against some of the major lessons in our world. And some of them that I've been seeing that have been running through the collective are being able to hold our own energetics, independence in our life, disconnecting from codependency, literally owning our truth and stepping fully into our power, owning our uniqueness inside of our businesses, life, how we show up in the world, trusting our divine flow, our intuitive gifts, our way of showing up in life. You know, part of my activation portal ways that I'm working within right now with one-to-one clients, we're diving into so much. And the gifts that they are calling forth right now to be able to serve humanity with is these beautiful and immensely intuitive stuff. And it's one of my clients who was literally scared to own her actual spiritual gifts is now asking me if I can activate her light language, which I can do. And I was told even a few months ago that this was going to be a thing I was going to be doing, not promoting it in the world in a way of that's the work, but integrated into these containers of one-to-one work, of these portals that I'm moving through, of assisting people to be able to lean into that. So such a cool thing and such a cool movement of energy. And that just dropped into something here. And I'm just okay, I need to relaunch the activation one-to-one calls and highlight light language as an offering. I'm okay, I will. Just have to write notes on that, put that down. Because the flow right now of creativity, of connection, when we move in that timeline is open. It is this powerful mechanism that drops in. And for those of us that are doing the work, those of us that are stepping into the space, those of us that are really, really honoring, even when we're feeling like shit, even when it's like we're knee deep in our stuff, even when we don't know how, even when we feel lonely as fuck, even when we're like, this can't happen, or even when we're angry and frustrated, we're still in our higher vibrational timeline surrendering more. Because we understand and get that the earth experience is going to bring in these dynamics. It will. But how we react to the dynamics are what is going to set the tone for us moving forward in our lives, for us moving into our desired outcomes. So a couple things that are happening, and let me give you guys this explanation as to what's really moving through the collective right now, is we've been watching, and since 2020 for sure, since we moved into the age of Aquarius, the timelines are starting to shift, meaning a couple things. One, we have availability to be able to access information, energies really, really quickly and do healing really, really quickly through past life information. Now, nothing is ever really past life, but that's just what we call it in this experience. But all the lives are happening at once. Okay. So, but let's just say, like you are living in another dimension as this man in 1840 doing this thing who doesn't feel worthy. Right now, what we can do is literally jump into that timeline, do the work with him, help him heal that, which then creates a ripple effect all the way through until today. So the other day I was meditating. First, I was told to do breath work. I dropped into the body, and then I went into a meditation, and they're like, we need you to go heal this energy that's moving through your field about being worthy. And I went, okay, well, where are we going? And they're like, we need to go back to this past life. So I literally dropped right in my meditation into the past life where I was getting abused by a lover, paused that life. Literally, I went, hold on, started talking to myself and that version of myself in this scenario, moved her out of there. She made a conscious choice that she could hold it and leave and be independent and do her thing. Her and the kids packed them all up, got them out on horses, and we took off. And then I hit play back in that life, and the guy started running his own timeline and doing his own thing. And we took off and found this house where this man lived, and he took them in. It ended up being that they ended up getting married and they became lovers and finished life together. And her whole entire life changed because she chose in that moment to feel worthy enough to leave, to understand that there was something bigger for her life, to understand that she could do it. She didn't know the answer. She didn't have the money. She didn't know what was going on, but there was something calling her out of there. And she said, yes. Now, granted, me as a spirit, which technically isn't a spirit, it's a different dimension of me, went back to go assist. But we can do this exact same thing in our own lives. We can make conscious choices right now to step up and to be with ourselves, even if we don't know, even if we don't have the money to, even if we're scared as fuck, even if we know we're going to be lonely, even if all the things that are showing up in the world, we can make decisions and stand behind them to shift energies to move this through. And that's the impact that we're having right now in these timelines. But what also is happening inside of the space of things is the energy of separation is coming in. So some of you guys have heard people talk about 5D, new earth, this energy field. Now, most people, well, not most, I won't say most, some people are naive enough to think that the whole entire world is going to move into 5D. We can't do that. Because if the whole entire world moves into 5D, why are we incarnated? We incarnated for duality. We came down to learn things through the duality, through our shadow, through the shifting of humanity, through the lessons that we're up against right now. That's why we came here, right? So if the whole world moved into 5D, it wouldn't make any sense. However, we are at this point of separation where the timelines are moving out of each other. So what's happening now is those of us doing the work, those of us trusting the mechanism, those of us stepping up into the space to be like, Spirit called me here. I know there's something here. I still feel like shit. I still feel all these emotions. I'm still scared as fuck to actually live this life, but I'm trusting that this is where I'm meant to be. I'm taking the aligned actions. I'm moving it through. I'm trusting the timing. I'm allowing myself to be in this space. I'm not reverting back to old habits or old things or old people in my life. I'm actually holding this energy. And what's happening now is as the timelines are shifting, people that are not doing the work, people that are reverting back to old patterns, people that are going back into old, consistencies of jobs or relationships or things like that are merging out of the timeline. They are literally segregating themselves and separating themselves from their true innate light. They are moving off their path. They are getting into confusion energy and they are diminishing their light. And maybe they don't see it this way because they're like, it's one thing, it's one thing, it's one thing, but it's like, it's a big thing and it's moving over here. So these small movements, and I'm literally going to be teaching this in day 5 today about how we really regulate this in my vibration program. And if you're like, oh my God, you're teaching a vibration program, I'm like, yeah, it's fucking potent as fuck. It will be available for self-led programs after I'm done teaching it. But we're moving through this today about how do we regulate our emotions to be able to still hold capacity for this energy to be here. So when we're feeling alone or we're feeling scared or we're in the doubt or we're over here in chaos, how do we still stay on the vibrational timeline of our actual calibration? How do we stay over here? A couple of the things are intentions and a couple of the things are trusting in the mechanism and having courage to stay put instead of actually making those calls or instead of actually going back to that old job or instead of actually going back to those old habits. It's like we've got to grit in and trust in the process that the loved ones we're supposed to be with will be there, that the life we're meant to live will be there, that the travel we want or the connections we want or that desire will be there, and it will be when we trust in the process of it all. And this is the fucking part that's the hardest because there is no answer here. There is no game plan. There is no strategy. The strategy is fucking be and continue to be and continue to hold on to the space right here and continue to move through it. Don't allow yourself this diminishment of light because you're scared as fuck or you're feeling lonely today and you want to go back. Guys, I have this conversation with myself all the fucking time. You know, I had some really cool people in my life, you know, for years and years, and they are no longer here. And part of me some days is like, maybe I'll just go to their profile and see what they're up to. A lot of them have blocked me. So that's a whole other mechanism. And I realized the triggering effect of being in my life, and I trigger the fuck out of people. And when you come into my world, you know, in whatever capacity you do, you're called to the work. And not because I'm asking you to be called to the work, because it's just going to show up. And the more you lean into my energy and you do the work, the more you get to expand and move through and live the life you desire. But you're going to come up against your shit. And I know that. And my human side, like, you know, I'm obviously a human in this experience too. My human side is like, well, what if I just sent them a message? What if I just wrote them another letter? What if I just, and I'm like, Colleen, no, we're moving forward in full potency of moving forward. We're not going backwards anymore. We're going to trust that this decision that they made and that the universe made is the decision. And that's it. And period. That's it. And it's like, okay, 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 okay. Right. And some days it sucks because I'm like, I want to go back to the I want to go back to the comfort, not conformity. I want to go back to the comfort. I want to go back to that safety because it felt safe for a bit, but it actually wasn't. It wasn't safe. It was keeping me in a contained box of limitation. And when I actually look at that and I really lean into that and I lean into that truth, I go, fuck, that's the truth. That's the truth. I'm not meant to play in that box any longer. There is no boxes now. We're not playing in boxes. We're leading life in our desires. We're speaking up into the truth. We're asking for what we want. I'm doing all the things. That's how I want to live my life. Period. That's how I want to live my life. So I'm asking you today, and I want to tell you today, the timelines are shifting. Our emotions, our intentions, our visualizations, our actions are dictating the timeline we're going to be on. And if you at any point in time make decisions to go backwards, to go back to the past, back to the thoughts, all the things, whatever it is, you're changing your timeline. And the separation is coming through the middle. And it's going to be harder and harder and harder to get back into the high vibration when you're over here. And that is the truth. I didn't make this up. The planetary alignments are even talking about it. All the gene keys are talking about it. The state that we're in the world, psychics, and all of us that are tapped into spirit are saying everything the exact same thing. This is happening right now. It's happening right now. Now you get to make a conscious choice and decision in your life on where you're going to play. But it's going to take grit and it's going to take courage and it's going to take guts and it's going to take power and it's going to take truth. And it's going to take you dismantling and letting go and surrendering and all the fucking things that you're going to have to do in order to move it through. And some days it's going to suck balls. I like saying that in my podcast episode. It's going to suck balls. It's going to be really intense. And you're going to want to go back and you're going to want to go back into safety. It's not safe though. The only safety we actually have is in our own sovereignty. Just because someone's laying in our bed does not make it safe. Just because they hold us in a certain way does not make it safe. Just because that job is telling us X, Y, and Z does not make it safe. You are the sovereignty. The safety is you. So as we breathe into this and allow ourselves to feel this, I want to ask you the question, what timeline do you want to play on? And now we move our energy to match it. We take the actions aligned, we move our body in a certain way, we allow ourselves to be seen in a certain way. If you guys can hear that, I have no idea what that is. And allowing ourselves to be and lead in this energy. I'm calling you forward to just trust. And on the hardest fucking days where you want to revert back, or you want to have that drink, or you want to move that forward, or you want to go play in your rebellion energy, breathe for a moment first and ask yourself what's important. What do I really desire in the long run? Instant gratification, my friends, is not the play right now. It's not. Trust me. I could tell you guys so many other fucking stories. It's not. The play is the long term. How are we in it long term to move this forward? And that's the question I have for you today on this podcast episode. We're diving into some heat, my friends. It's time. This is it. This is what we've been working towards. Literally, this is it right here. You get to choose. I love you guys, and I'll see you guys all in the next episode. Well, we know that you like the podcast potentially because you're still here listening to this actual audio at this moment of time. So all that we're going to ask is, can you please just help us share it out? Tag some friends, share it with a friend, help us spread the word, because each of us moving through together as we collaborate, as we move within this light warrior movement, helps each of us illuminate in lights. And we're just so grateful. I'm so grateful. The guests are always so grateful too, that you help us spread the word, that you help us really step into this space to be able to own all of our pathway. And we are just so grateful to have you here. And thank you again for listening.